A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivo Njebela, your host. Tonight we are welcoming back to the platform Nghipudilo yaShiindi. She is an Africanist whose views have divided public opinion sometimes, but she sticks to those. And one of the things that she is also very firm about is the issue of polygamy, which she thinks is a perfectly okay African practice. Thank you, my sister. It's always a pleasure having you here. You've been here before. The last time you were here, you had just resigned from your church. Is that still the case? You don't belong to any church as you speak now, or you have changed your mind since then?
Okay, thank you, Toivo, for having me. I'm still very much proud to be out of the church. Still very much grounded in my Africanity, and yeah. So I don't belong to any church, and I'm proud of that decision that I have made.
So do you pray, or where do you get your blessings from, if you like?
Do I pray? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Blessings, probably I would have to ask what a blessing is. I'm in harmony with nature.
If you want something to be done, maybe you are traveling and you just want a safe journey. How do you go about asking for protection?
As I am part of nature, I also do not have control of what should happen to me. So you can pray for you to be safe on your journey, but you do not have control over that.
Yeah.
So I live life as it is, and I appreciate or welcome or embrace life as it comes.
Yeah.
So I don't have control over that. Yeah.
An Africanist, what is that?
Being part of or a member of Africa, being born here in Africa. Africa is a continent.
Does that make everyone an Africanist, or is it a set of beliefs and set of values that you subscribe to be considered an Africanist?
Refuse to be westernized.
Yeah.
There are certain values and practices that we need to subscribe to remain who we are.
Yeah.
We are living in a global village. So who are we as people from this part of the world, Africans, in that global village? So there are certain values and practices that we need to keep, those that define us as Africans.
Are you opposed to everything Western, or you filter and say, okay, this one is Western, but it speaks to who I am, it speaks to my aspirations, but this one I'm totally opposed? Or are you opposed to anything and everything Western?
I'm opposed to anything and everything that is oppressive.
Yeah.
Anything that is oppressing my beliefs, I'm opposed to that.
Yeah.
Yes. If anything that is being imposed on me, because as human beings, we're living in a world which is evolving. If something is evolving naturally, either it's evolving here in Africa or in the West, for as long as it's evolving naturally, I'm fine with it. But if it's being imposed on me forcefully, then I would have a problem with it.
Yeah. Which brings me to the topic of today, which is polygamy. In the Western world, is completely unacceptable. In parts of Africa, it's acceptable. In the Oshivamo tradition, for example, our grandfathers, even our fathers, some of them had more than one wife. Why do you think that is acceptable?
Polygamy Probably we need to look at the difference, because polygamy is a tree with branches. So it's more broader, but then what is acceptable in our culture is polygyny, which is when a man is having more than one wife. And this is not only acceptable or accepted in Africa, it was a worldwide practice. It only then got ruled out some years ago, like in the West, in the European countries. They also practice it, but then it was then seen to be unlawful or illegal, and then they had to do away with it. In Africa, it also being practiced still, polygyny, but then in the civil law, it's not accepted, especially here in Namibia. We have people that are still practicing it, people that are still in polygamous marriages, and they are fine with it, because polygyny is a cosmic law. It's in nature. You look at animals, you look at trees, you could see that there is that aspect of polygyny in the whole universe. So it's something that is practiced still by those that are in tune with nature. You know, we moved away, or the Western ways of life moved us way from nature, and then we started now embracing their ways, because some of these things are imposed on us. They have seen that you know, polygamy for the purpose of economics, it was not economical to certain people. That's why then they deemed it to be illegal. So we are now living on the rules of men as opposed to the rules of nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having what I find completely hypocritical is that we seem to accept that those who believe in polygamous matrimonies, that it's okay for a man to have more than one wife, but if tables were turned, where one woman will have more than one man married to her, it's totally unacceptable. And that, to me, has created also the same thing now, that even in normal romantic relationships, men, it is deemed perfectly okay or normal, maybe not okay, but normal for a man to have 2 girlfriends or 3. But if you, Nghipudilo, had 3 boyfriends today, society will disown you. They will call you names. You are this, you are that. You are uncultured. You are a shame to society. Why?
As I said, you know, we are being governed by the rule of nature, cosmic law. Naturally and biologically, women are different from men, either we like it or not. And, you know, people are talking about gender equality. I don't know, probably that will be a topic for another day, but there won't be equality, and we are now trying to divert from the origin of the gender equality. Why was it termed? And we're trying to bring it in everything. Now, naturally, men are supposed to be the protector and the givers, because they have the seed. And women are supposed to be, you know, receivers. Even our biological genital makeup is made that in such a way that we receive. And now, having a woman, or myself having multiple sexual partners, for example, it will be something else, because my portal of life is made in a way that it receives. And it's just not natural to be now receiving anything and everything from wherever. And biological also, or naturally, we are made to, we have seasons
Yeah.
in our life as women. We get our menstrual cycle, unlike men that are ready for anything, anytime. So it's just not possible that a woman will then have multiple partners at the same time. But we're living in a sick world where now, as we move away from nature, we then tend to accept anything and everything in a matriarchy world that we're living in. We're now trying to fight for our position in the world.
Yeah.
That's why then we end up fighting for things that are impossible, just because we have terms like gender equality. But biologically speaking, it's just, or probably even scientifically speaking, it's just not possible. Looking at how our body are made up as women. Now, if we are to say a woman having more than one sexual partner at the same time, when you are menstruating and that man is ready to, engage in sexual activities anytime, then what happened? Yeah.
I hear you. So, because there's now this whole thing, conversations in the country, people saying, yeah, this whole thing about homosexuality and same-sex marriages and all these recent court rulings in favor of some of these things, that if it is allowed for men to engage in sexual activities against or with each other, that you might as well allow polygamy as a practice in the country. You must also legalize that so that men can also have multiple wives. I don't see the exact connection. Maybe it's people just trying to create a conversation, but I still don't understand. Why would a man have two wives? What do you gain from that as opposed to having one?
In talks of homosexuality and polygamy and the connection, there probably won't be any connection, but because polygamy is our practice, and you'll then find that we have a system that is now introducing us to other things and trying to impose those things on us, especially now the issue of homosexuality. We didn't really have an issue with homosexuality because we have those people in our communities, but we know how to deal with those because to us it's some abnormality in nature, I should say. But we had ways how to deal with those because it's not in conformity with the law of nature. Now, if you have a system which is now trying to impose the Western beliefs, because it was homosexuality is well acceptable elsewhere in the world, but then we have people bringing it to us and trying to have strategies on how to have it accepted in our communities.
Yeah.
Then we also now feel we have to have, as Africanists, we have to have strategies also to preserve our ways of living, and that includes polygamy. And probably I would then get in trouble with a whole lot of women because we found ourselves in a system that is a system that is now trying to, impose things or paint polygamy to be a bad thing. And we are being trained to be selfish, but that is not our nature as Bantu people. We believe, when we were in harmony with Mother Nature, we believe that I am because we are. We accept to be in a community we are sort of interactive or interconnected people. Now, we have a system that is teaching us to be jealous, that is teaching us to be selfish. We do not want to share. But naturally, men are seeds that need to be planted. You know, they need to give seeds for us to have that interconnection, that for us to have that community. And now, when we have the Western world painting polygamy to be a bad thing, then we tend to sort of accept that. And we become now selfish people. We don't want to, you know, share. That Ubuntu spirit is not within us anymore. And that becomes a problem. So polygamy, you find, you know, we engage in these discussions in our communities, and you find women saying, no, if you find a woman supporting polygamy, probably she's single, not married. So you find married women saying, no, a married woman will not support polygamy because of selfishness. Selfishness. They don't want to share. And sharing, not only sharing a man sexually, but also sharing that protective nature of a man, because we are here to be protected by men. That's why they are more masculine than us. And we as women, we are to nurture them. Now, polygamy is then painted to be a bad thing, but if you are to look at what is currently happening now in the world, we have so many baby mamas. Naturally, men are polygamous, either we like it or not. They are not monogamous beings. It's an African man is either he's polygamous or mischievous, because it's in their nature. Even in, you go in, look at your animals at home. I'm sure you have a club of, let's say, goats. How many male goats do you have, and as opposed to female? The population recently, the census that was recently held last year shows that in Namibia, women are more than men, and it's everywhere. It's in nature. So for us not to be selfish, for every woman to have a man, we ought to share.
I hear you. We go for a very short break and then return with Nghipudilo, yaShiindi. Our conversation continues on the evening review. Now, let me be more direct with you. Would you accept your husband having another wife? Is it, oh, we're just playing to the gallery here, but in real life you wouldn't want your man to have another woman?
Toivo is a proud African and also a proud product of polygamy. I grew up in that setting, you know, and also somebody that doesn't really confine to the ego. You know, the only women that will not support polygamy or accept polygamy, like openly, because, you know, we have women that are comfortable to be called side chicks or side hands or the main, or, you know, it's happening. Either we like it or not, it's happening, but we just don't want to accept it. You find women saying, no, I prefer my men to probably have those other relationships, but I should not find out, or I shouldn't know. I mean, that will be more dangerous than, you know, have me knowing where my man is and with who, and also in terms of now health, probably go for, you know, testing for STIs and HIVs and all that. So as a being that doesn't vibrate on a low vibration, you know, some people are still vibrating at 3D or 4D, you know, it will take somebody that is on a higher vibration, let's say on a 10th dimension, for you to be able to accept, because you then understand the law of nature, and you wouldn't really have an issue with sharing, because, you know, as Omunu, you know, as a Bantu person, we are, I am because we are. So I wouldn't really have an issue sharing a man, because that is what nature dictates.
Yeah. Is it because is it because you do you accept polygamy because in any case, somehow in your view, a man would in any case still be promiscuous? He will still cheat or sleep around, and therefore there's nothing you can do about it, and maybe being in a polygamous marriage maybe is one way of, because I suppose, I mean, one of the reasons that people will tell you is that, you know, when our fathers were having 3 wives, they didn't make kids outside that environment. And therefore it's better that way than having 1 wife and still having to make kids with those 2 other wives or 2 other girlfriends outside. So for you, is it because it's a natural aspect of men to have more than 1 sexual partner, and therefore there's nothing you can do about it? Or do you just believe that it's actually a correct thing to do? Is it out of no choice, or is it because it's a correct way to do?
It's good to note that not every man is ordained to be in a polygamous relationship or marriage, because, you know, we are different, and also different in our desires. You have men that have, in terms of now sex, that have a high sexual drive. So as women, not every woman would want to have sex every night, but you find men that would, certain men that would want to have sex every night. So then that will give a chance to women that that do not have a sex drive, which is very high. So when I don't feel like, you know, having sex that night, then I can give a chance to other women, because the men want to have sex.
Yeah.
And polygamy is not only just about sex. There are other responsibilities and that a man needs to have, and also just for compassionate reasons. We need to understand that not every man practice polygamy, even in the olden days. Some men were fine with 1 woman, but polygamy is for responsible men. Now, what we're seeing in the world today is not what we term polygamy, or what is perceived to be polygamy. What we're seeing now is confused people, you know, people just going around having baby mamas because they do not want to take up that responsibility. It's a thing of touch and go, because most men are scared of responsibilities. For one to be in a polygamous relationship, and it has to be done correctly for it to work. For one to be in a polygamous relationship, that somebody needs to be ready to take up those responsibilities that comes with the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you, because we have a minute or so left. But being a product of polygamy yourself, as you rightly said, what do you, when you compare those 2 arrangements, when you look at children who were born in is it monogamous relationships where you only have one wife compared to those of you who were born in polygamous marriages? Do you see any difference, any advantages that you, for example, have over those ones?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
A difference would be that we are not selfish beings. We learn to live in harmony with everybody. We look at everybody in our community as part of us, as opposed to those that are born in monogamous marriages. It's us, you know, them as the children and the parents. It's just them. They don't care about any other person. But as of us that are born or grow up in the setting of polygamy, where we have a large or a big family, we then learn to, you know, share with others and also to care for others, not only those that are born by our parents.
Yeah. The last quick question is also, I've seen people who are born within marriage. Maybe your parents are married to each other, just one, the husband with one wife. Then there are children born in that marriage. And then the father has children that he either made before marriage or after marriage. And you see the disconnection between these children, saying, so twadala mumbo, twadala mombo, do you think polygamy will help harmonize kids in situations like that?
Definitely. And I strongly feel like polygamy will also now help deal with the gender-based violence that we are facing now, because you find that men really want to care for the other women, for his other women, but because of what the society will say, because we are now living in a society where monogamous relationships are perceived to be the right relationships. Now, if a man has kids outside the house or the marriage, then those other kids are less kids than those ones that are in the house. And you find that even the treatment, a child goes to visit the father, the treatment will not be the same as those ones that are in the house. And every child also wants to have that bond with both parents. Now, as a single mother, I have my child here and the father is elsewhere with his other women, and I'm not allowed to be part of his life because the society is designed to only accept monogamous relationships. Then it becomes an issue because the other child will then grow up without the other parent or the presence of the other parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My sister, thank you for always making time. We enjoy your perspectives.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Right.
Wonderful. That is Nghipudilo yaShiindi sharing again her very Pan-African views about life and polygamy. Thank you for watching.